So after doing the first activation certificate, a lot of people want to know what's next. What can I do? Something small, something medium, something large. And for most people, they've had the basic foundations of learning the activation certificate, which is always where we start with our life insight, clear energy, energy lift, and connecting the flow. Some people have opted to do one, some people do all four, and that gives you the first activation certificate. And we do this and have this first because the importance of the innate systems and connecting the systems so that they're all working for you in a much better way. Once a system is working, it can then connect to a full working system. And all of the systems that we look at are all innately bound within us, and they're either working the best or not working as best as they can. So it all has a specific benefit to reconnect and reactivate, hence the word activation, whether it's working with your emotional system and what's happening in the limbic part of the brains and the different stress responses for life insight, or clearing the energies of your blood and circulation, or your lymphatics in energy lift, or connecting the flow in the meridian acupuncture system. All of these, when they talk to each other, have profound changes for people, particularly when you've been doing one, two, or all four of them for 90 days. So what that means is that after the 90 days, when you need to activate something, it kicks in a lot faster. So there's many more benefits to having those innate systems connected. Then we can move on to the specific skill activations. So while these may not be relative to the innate systems, although one or two of them are, and I'll go over those as I go through this, these are really great little bits of information where you can study things that interest you or add a different tool set to your skills that you may be studying as a student practitioner, or maybe just up your skills if you are a practitioner yourself. The first one, Clean Body, deals with cleaning up your body. We have a first aid activation. We have winning the immune war, focuses on strengthening the immune system. We've got quite a few different food-related ones. Food is best is for those with intolerances and food allergies. And when we always like to have something relative to the perceptions and the changes in thought processes. So being better than fear is a fantastic one to move and understand why fear is so much of a challenge and move that out of the person, because it does stop people in their tracks. And being part of that old reptilian brain allows you to get out of the habit of going into that overreaction, that stress response. So it looks at how fear consumes our energy and what to do with that by using a process of constructing a new picture in your head, using other tools such as holding the front and back of your head, and breaking up those fears so that it can activate the intelligences rather than you keep coming out of fear, and break those illusions of the reptilian brain that keep you driving into those primitive responses. So it's a great one for the habits of your brain. Whereas if we wanted to clean your body as a habit, this activates the immune, clears the toxicities, spores, yeasts, molds, funguses, and those nasty little parasites in the intestines that we can pick up through eating organic foods, or the children can pick up. So this one is a great one to reactivate and your immune switch, turn it back on, and then get your programming reset for how you detox. And then, of course, looking at the spore, yeast, mold, fungal activity. So when there's an overactivity of those things, sometimes produced by parasites, sometimes produced by stress. This retraining of the internal references more on a physical level is actually one of our more commonly studied class, and it's the much more preferred for people because they know that it's so important. Just as important, though, is the high amount of food intolerances and food allergies that people have. So this looks at how to retrain and reset so that you have food working for you rather than against you. So it helps to break up the associations of food allergens. And here we look at organs and glands, and again, toxicity and digestive challenges, and also the meridian acupuncture pathway imbalances that can occur because of our associations with food. The Winning the Immune War looks at not just re-establishing the immune system, but also resetting the importance of the relationship the liver and the immune system have together, and our glands, with some brain integration that often falls apart when we are sick. So all these systems must work together for the immune system to function really well. And it's also part of a series of our anti-aging. The Winning the Immune War is also part of that. And I'll talk about some of how we've grouped some of the activations together in clusters where you can actually study a fuller certificate rather than the individuals. The circulation for life has been used a lot in the last few years, and particularly with people having circulation challenges. And it's not just about blood circulation, but also energy circulation, and especially circulation of fluids. So it activates your heart energy, it resets your heart circulation, it stimulates your overall circulation system, moves the brain, the cerebrovascular system, balances fluids, and also anything going on with the aorta, because the aorta is a really important part of circulation. This one is used often by practitioners for those people who have any kind of circulation, heart, anything they need to re-establish the rejuvenation process. Our class called Increase Sexual Energy sounds great, like you'd want to increase your sexual energy, and some people do get that benefit, but it's not necessarily about increasing how to do sex better. It's actually more about increasing what makes our glandular system and our hormonal system and our primary neurological system that's included in all of that work so much more better. Because if parts start to fail, we then don't function. Our glandular system is a really important foundation of supporting other functions. So we activate and reset the pituitary with the different gonads, our ovaries or our testes. This one's very good for any reproductive organ or fertility imbalance, and breaking up those old habits that we may have caught up in our neurology that keeps our glands not doing what they should be doing. And a good one that follows that, and it's also in the Happy Hormones series where there is a cluster of 4 different activations. This one balances your hormones and has different ways. It has a phase 1 and a phase 2 to create long-term change. And it looks at hormone reflexes and uses a lot of the neurolymphatic points, which you will be familiar with because of the energy lift that you've done. Some people are caught up in physical pain, and the pain-free activation resets the habits of pain and how the pain gets caught up in the loops and in the body loops of our systems and functions. So it can easily turn into a bad habit mentally and just keep driving the physical pain physically. So here we look at what to do with pain that's caught in the body using muscular system and different components that work for or against us, and also what to do for things like bites, burns, and reactions and pain reactions. and using a process called the big points. It's a meridian acupuncture process where we're dispersing and diffusing the over energy of pain, because pain and physical pain long term can lead to great sadness and depression and frustration for a lot of people. So this one is great to train your nervous system to reset those old pain habits, particularly if you've had them for a long period of time. We also have quite a few activation classes on the gut. Neuro-microbiome is one of them. This is retraining for new perceptions from the inside of our gut toward the outside world. So any deterioration in our gut health can cause all kinds of different challenges for people, including their ability to think clearly, their mental health. So clearing out the residue of chemicals and changing the brain and the gut reaction and how that brain-gut axis, that pathway between the head and the gut, which is very, very important for clear thinking, and reconnecting that again and getting that clear and reset is really important in the neuro-microbiome activation. Also, we look at a special nerve called the vagus nerve, which is an important nerve that has a lot to do with the biome and thinking, what to take and what to avoid when it comes to different foods, and how to retrain your gut's nervous system to live with the good bacteria again. Of course, sometimes some people have suffered from yeast and fungal overgrowth. Some people know it as candida. Some people say yeast overgrowth. It can infest in the gut, but it can also look like thrush in a baby's mouth, or for women, they can often suffer from vaginal thrush as well. Whether it's systemic, whether it's caught in their lymphatic system or just a part of their gut, the candida, yeast overgrowth and fungal infections create an enormous amount of health problems for people. And so the recuperation here, again, from the inside out by removing the toxins and stimulating detoxification, is a really important part of this class. And again, it's part of the gut series, that getting the gut sorted. So we do put the candida and the microbiome activation often back to back, along with a couple of others. So they're all looking at the different aspects of either candida overgrowth and what that leads to, and the biofilm, which is like a bad slimy lining on the inside of your gut that often sits on the side of the walls of your gut and creates problems, and also deal with the byproducts of what candida creates, the fallout of candida known as acetaldehyde and formaldehyde. And it's actually in this class that we will be using the energy cards as well, the candida energy cards, and there's 3 different cards to use with that process. So the gut series, in combination of microbiome, candida, cleaning up the body, and food for cause, not necessarily the effective cause, helps to re-establish a whole entire gut system, particularly when this is done at a repetitive level. But if someone just wanted to study something quick and they wanted to use neuro-training just in an emergency situation, Activation Aid has quick solutions for skin imbalances, a burn, or what to do with scars, joint problems, what to do while someone's having a heart attack to keep them stable while the ambulance is on its way, what happens and what to do when you have been or you are exposed to poisons, and there's the ant bites and snake bites, and also anxiety as a part of our Activation Aid is looked at in a big way as well. This way you've got a little toolkit that you can go to straight away for when you're needing those quick neuro-training balances to help someone get through the hurdle of having some imbalance happen and some event, to either getting more support or just to get through it themselves. Other activation classes, just very briefly, we've got one on breathing, Breathe Easy, training your nervous system to establish functional breathing. And this is, of course, really important for those who have breathing problems. We have other women's wellness classes, care during pregnancy and care for birth and after you have given birth is an important part of the women's wellness. And those who want to excel at sport and those who want to increase their focus, increase their performance and get the nutrition working for them better for their sporting activities is another activation we offer. And here we have what I call or refer to the happy hormones. It's part of our diploma in Neuro-Training series as well. We call it Women's Wellness. There's a Women's Wellness 1, a Women's Wellness 2, and a Women's Wellness 3. And this is part of those that we use with the muscle checking, where when you're using the activations only, there's no muscle checking in it. You're just using the activations and following the order of the modules within the activation for the person to recuperate and recover. So we can use them in different ways. We can use it straight out of the book and follow the activations, or we can extend that to using muscle checking and find what more the person needs besides just the activations. But the activations standalone do have a lot of credibility and a lot of weight when it comes to supporting and re-establishing hormone and glandular functions, depending on what stage the person is at. If we wanted to create and stimulate and feed your energy when we're moving energy, so it's not necessarily mental, not necessarily physical, but on an energetic format, we have different classes. One's called Life Quality. This is about increasing the quality of your life so that the life quality in your blood system can clean itself and the different components in the blood chemistry can do what they should be doing to feed you and to feed your life quality. Freeing the Way is actually an innate system, like the innate systems that you have studied in the activation certificate. And this works with moving the energies of the whole meridian from beginning to end. So it looks like you'd be tracing the meridian from beginning to end and then moving to the next meridian. And this clears and pacifies the whole meridian system. It's a great one to be taught face-to-face because you're literally working top to toe. And we've got also video supports for that one as well. Creative Energy looks at creating new possibilities and uses other acupuncture points, uses some Japanese style of acupuncture and acupressure points as well. Of course, we don't do acupuncture, we don't do needles, but we do use the theory and the points for creating new energy for that person. And the Inner Wisdom Energy Activation deals with increasing a stronger and more powerful fortitude inside the person, particularly with their organs and their glands. The covering around our organs and glands is known as the viscera, and it's a very deep internal covering that supports, feeds, holds the structure, and helps our organs slide over each other. So Inner Wisdom not only helps your inner wisdom with phases 1, 2, and 3, but also stimulates the viscera of all of the organs and the glands involved to function better, to detoxify, and just have greater control and power. We also have, due to demand, a brain activation series that has Keen Mean Mind, a Remember series, activating your executive brain, because we all have one, and a class on vision for those who have challenges with their eyes. Any one of these does certainly help with learning. Even if you don't have dyslexia, you don't have to be suffering from any learning related imbalance to benefit from the brain activation series and training your cognition to integrate with so many other challenges and so many other parts of your brain and your mind. So these can also be studied individually, but this is just a packet for you in the event that you specialize in brain-related imbalances, those with all kinds of learning and remembering type of challenges, also those that are having brain defunction as they get older. These are also really good to use. We have an anti-aging activation that's quite has been studied quite often by people in a series of these 4 classes. Being better than fear, which I talked about earlier, is an important one we've put in here because the thought process and how the thought process can undo a whole lot of physical and emotional functions in our body, and getting the food and the chemistry of the food and the chemicals to do what it should do in the body. So it's feeding the person's body, making sure their immune is strong, and using circulation for life to make sure the circulation, the fluids, and the heart are operating well. So the anti-aging activation is a good one to help people who want to rejuvenate and re-kick and restart the wellness focus, so that they're not going into the normal aging that other people might do in the later stages of their life. The Excel activation classes are around those who have a big focus on sport, if they want more stamina and they want to get the most out of their muscles, if they want to feed their adrenal glands particularly, and not the stress around life, and get the stamina and strength of their adrenal glands fed to the rest of their body. And the neuro power training, which is an equivalent of a 2-day activation and is a much bigger focus for those who want to increase their muscle power with the power points and the recuperation points. The neuro power training is used a lot by people in gymnasiums, personal assistants and personal program trainers that are in the gym pushing weights and training other people to push weights, and can be done on its own. Any of these can be done on their own, but if you want to have a package of a focus, these would be the best 3 for excelling and strengthening and also recuperating after doing the actual exercises. I am one of the trainers. Of course, you probably all know that I'm the CEO of the College of Neuro-Training and do offer online as well as some face-to-face classes, usually in Melbourne. While occasionally I might travel to other places, most of the time their face-to-faces are in Melbourne. We also have other trainers in Perth, in Western Australia, and of course we have trainers in Europe. So if you have a friend or families that want to learn neurotraining in Germany, or perhaps in Hungary, in Italy, we have quite a few European trainers also in Norway, and we are just starting also to offer and look at offering activation classes in other countries. We do have neurotrainers in South Africa. They focus more on the training for practitioners, on the more of the diploma classes. But in having said that, some people will learn online through an online process and then use their trainer in their local town, or maybe a student that studied before, to help support them through their learning process. So if you want more information, please send an email or give us a call on, that's the Australian number. And I'd like to finish off with something that's special to my heart. This is the creator of Neuro-Training, Andrew Verity, and I'd like just to finish with a bonus video on what Neuro-Training works on. This was done in, I believe, Germany a few years ago before Andrew's passing, where they set up the camera and just did a few short videos asking him different questions. So enjoy this video, and I will hopefully hear from you very soon.
It would be very interesting to know what neurotraining works on.
What does neurotraining work on? Sounds like a simple question, but that's going to challenge the thinking of a lot of people, because when a person has a problem, they think there is an answer to that problem. So they get it into their head that, well, maybe if I find the right person with that right answer, they can give me that answer and I'll get better. But actually, it doesn't work that way. How it works really is that your nervous system is adapting to all sorts of influences over a long period of time. And sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't get it right. The end result is that we're living within a conditioned environment internally. And that is reflected in how the nervous system operates. So neurotraining actually, because of the name, even infers that we're training the nervous system to function better. Now, better basically means that we're training the nervous system to function more in line with how the genetics designed it in the first place, which is healthy, natural, normal functioning. So when a person has a problem, instead of them looking for neurotraining as having an answer to it, because we don't really, what we do is we investigate your nervous system and find out what it's doing and give it a better option of operating so it does the work. We actually don't fix anything. So knowing that, having the concept that there's a precluded idea of what neurotraining works on is a false thought, because it works on everything. And it works on nothing, because we're just helping your nervous system to function better. And it's your nervous system that works on whatever the function is, or the dysfunction, in fact, that's going on inside you. So a person can have a cold. So they think they need to go and take some pills, but it wasn't pills that gave them the cold in the first place. So if you look at the mechanism of how you get to have the problem in the first place, and then find a better way of responding to that, then you've got a much better chance of learning how to deal with that situation if it comes up again in your life. So in many ways, neurotraining is literally training your nervous system, your immune system, all of your systems actually, to be prepared for what eventually will happen again. Because life's like that, things happen over and over and over. But if we keep the same reaction to the same thing every time, we're going to end up with the same result. So I think that was a definition of crazy, thinking that something's going to change, but you don't change your response to the things that happen in life. You just respond the same way, expecting change to happen, and it's not going to. So in the processes of neurotraining, we attempt to help people to understand that there's more going on inside them than what they think consciously. With that awareness, with that realization that there are other things going on inside, then it takes the pressure off for you to have to know what the solution is to what you see as a symptom or a dysfunction of some sort, or even a challenge. We have clients in the business area, and their thinking patterns are leading them to certain types of stresses. And so, retraining the nervous system to not be so stressed means that, you can relax, you can recuperate, you can enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. So the concept that if you have a problem, there should be a solution is wrong. Just scrub it, forget that. If you have a problem, it means that you're dysfunctional in some activity level somewhere in your body. So we just find where the dysfunction is, and we help your nervous system to overcome that naturally in ways that are already built into our bodies. It's actually really interesting because a person will come to me with their problem, and I will muscle check them and find out from them what they need to fix their problem. So then when I do that, their problem disappears. Now, isn't that strange? I mean, why doesn't a person just do what they have to do to get over their problem in the first place? Well, basically it means that the problem is over here and the solution is over here, but they're not connected. So all we do really in training the nervous system to function better is to make better connections. Right? And when the connections are made, we have access to our own solutions. And that's pretty amazing because even if we don't have access to the immediate solution, this process can show us what you do need to be able to make a connection, even if it's an external one, like taking a herb or a homeopathic or getting a massage or going to a chiropractor or whatever it might be. But it could be anything. But what determines that is what's happening in the person, not what's happening in neurotraining. Neurotraining does not diagnose anything because there's no point. It's how a person is doing what they're doing that's making the problem. So we change how they're doing what they're doing, and then there's no problem. So we don't have to diagnose anything because there's no need for it. People get better anyway.
So please reach out if you have any more questions, and I'll be happy to give you the answers. Have a great day.